Hi everyone, welcome back to Total War Therapy. I'm Alberto and today we're gonna make the final tier list of the High Elves unit roster after Tides of Torment DLC, and later we're gonna see some army compositions for the early, mid and late campaign. So don't forget to subscribe if you enjoyed the video and let's begin. Hi, I'm Alberto, I'm a real person and here you will find the beginner's guide, the battle unit roster, tier list, ranking and many shorts. So if you wanna support the channel, please consider to subscribe. Okay, first let me explain you why these tier list choices. I decided to put Legolas in the top position because, if you watched the movies or you read the books, he's a great character, a very skilled warrior, both with the bow and with dual weapons, so I think that he deserves to be there. Then in the middle position I put Elrond because, in the lore he's not even a full elf, but he's still a great strategist and a good warrior with the elven armaments. And then at the bottom of the list I put Orwen, that she's definitely one of the most beautiful women on earth, and when I was younger she was definitely my crush as well, but yes, she's not properly a warrior in this world, and she even sacrificed her immortality for the love, so this is not a virtue in this context, at least. So yeah, she represents all the units that it's just better if you don't bring them to the battlefield with you. Now we can finally start with the melee infantry of the High Elves roster, and the first unit that we're gonna address are the Spearmen. Now, I already told you in many videos, this unit is probably one of the best mid-tier melee infantry in the entire game, and they are perfect, okay? I'm saying mid-tier because even if they are the easiest to recruit unit in this roster, they require only the settlement building, they're still a little expensive if you compare them to the other lowest tier melee infantry in the other factions. In any case, they have the shield, so they have a good protection against the missile attacks, so the perfect front line. Then the spears that have the anti-large attributes like the charge reflection, the charge defense and so on, and they are reliable not only in the early campaign, but if you boost them with the technology and with the red skill line, also in the late campaign. So you don't need to replace them with the Silvering Guard, for example, that are even a DLC unit, so you may not have them available. In any case, for me, they deserve to be in the Legolas tier. And then, as I said, they are very easy to recruit. You need just the settlement building, so you can take as many as you want of them. Then we have the Ship's Company, that is a new melee infantry, a low tier melee infantry unit that was introduced in the last DLC, Tides of Torment, and now I have a problem with this unit because they are at the same tier, but if you want to recruit them you need the military building. That is the first weakness compared to the Spearmen. Second, they have definitely worse stats, okay, because they're supposed to be better against other infantry, but the Spearmen are so perfect against the Cavalry, against the missile, that you don't need to replace them with this unit just to have better melee capabilities against other infantry units. And at the same time you're paying for stuff like the for example the aquatic attribute, so they perform better in the water. That is something quite niche. That's why for me, even if I had a lot of fun with them, recruiting them in my last campaigns, if you ask me a professional judgment, I would say that they are in the Orwen category. Now here we are again with another DLC unit. In this case I think that you can get this unit with the DLC, the Warden and the Paunch. I'm not sure because it was a long time ago and I don't remember which unit is in which DLC. In any case, they are a great offensive melee infantry Basically, they're still recruitable with the basic military building, the lowest tier, so quite easy to get. And they have the dual swords, so they have the anti-infantry bonus, the vanguard deployment, and the best attribute of them is that they have a staggered formation. Okay, so if the enemy wants to target you with a bombardment spell, an artillery piece, it can be hard for them because you are not an easy target, definitely. And you can just try to attack the back of the enemy, but this for me only from the early to mid campaign, because then there start to be cavalry monsters and they are not that useful anymore. In any case, for some anti-infantry support in the early campaign and for some more skirmish strategies, they are perfect. That's why I will put them into the Elrond category. Then we have probably I can talk about the Silverine Guard. Now they are recruitable with the third tier military building, the basic one, so they're still easy to get, but a little later in the campaign. And they are basically the upgraded version of the Spearmen with some spell resistance, so they are a little more, less vulnerable in case they are targeted by a spell and so on. For me, they are great, and even if I said that the Spearmen are perfect, I have to say that if you decide to replace them with a Silverine Guard, it's definitely not a bad option. They are perfect at what they do, but yes, you need again a DLC and the Warden and the Paunch again, I suppose. But yeah, for me they are in the Legolas category. Then we have the Lions of Crache. Now this unit you cannot get it with your basic military building, but with another basic military building that is the same of the Great Eagle and the Sisters of Avalorn, just to mention them. Now the great stuff about this unit is that they have a great armor compared to the Spearmen, for example, but they have also a missile resistance. So even if they are not equipped with the shield, they still have a good missile protection against arrows and so on. And then of course they have the great weapons, so a lot of armor piercing damage. So in my opinion, in some scenarios you can even consider to use them as your front line, and that's why I will put them into the A category. And then they can be boosted by one specific lord. Then we have the Swords Master of Hoeth. Now this is not a perfect unit for me. First you need a special advanced military building, the fourth tier, I guess. So they are very hard to get, but very elite. They have also kind of ability that they can deflect some arrows with their great swords, so they have a little shield, but just a little, so they will not have a full protection like the Spearmen, for example. And they are the anti-heavy infantry specialists, so against some factions like the dwarves, they are just perfect. That's why I will put them into the Elrond category, even if they have some weaknesses. Then we have the Phoenix Guard, that is the last melee infantry in this roster. And I have to say that I don't like it that much, because first, it's very expensive. You need another advanced military building that, and you have to reach the fourth tier. And they are great against monsters, against heavy cavalry, but they are very slow, okay? They are very slow, very expensive, and at the same price you can get, for example, some archers and a spearman. The spearmans that can get busy, the monster, and the archers that will shoot at them. And believe me, the result will be the same. But of course, if you are going up in your campaign and you want to recruit more powerful units, they can be a nice option. That's why I will still keep them into the Elrond category. Now let's move to the missile infantry category, and of course the first unit that we're gonna address are the archers. Now this is a very basic unit, and they are recruitable with the settlement building. That is, the best feature of them. And yes, they have a good range compared to other, missile infantry of the lowest tier in the other factions. That's why they're not that bad. But in my opinion, once you get the basic military building, you can replace them with the archers with armor. That's why I will put them into the C category. Now, this unit, the archers with the armor, is just perfect because you're paying just a little more to have a better armor. That it's not when you get attacked by a cavalry or by a melee infantry, but it's mostly of when they will be targeted by another missile infantry that this little armor will make the difference. And that's why for me, even if they keep all the other stats at the same level, I feel to put them into the A category. Then we have the Lothern Sea Guard that are coming in two versions, and there is the first one that is recruitable with the building, the second tier building of the basic military building. That's why in my opinion, you can just wait a little more to get the third building that is easy to reach and take directly the Lothern Sea Guard with the shields, because of course they have better protection against the missile and also a little more of melee defense. That's why I will put them the Lothern Sea Guard in the Orwen category, but I will put the Lothern Sea Guard in the Legolas category. Believe me, they sacrifice a little of range, so about the missile attack itself, the archers are better, but if you consider the full package, that you still have a unit quite annoying to take down, that if there is a cavalry enemy that is trying to charge you, they have no chances against you. So for me, if you consider everything, they deserve to be in the Legolas category. Then we have the Shadow Warriors that are a specific unit that, in my opinion, are quite underrated, because if you really think of them, they're probably one of the most powerful units in the entire game. They are great warriors, far more than decent in melee, and at the same time they don't sacrifice any any missile attack, so they have a full range with a lot of ammunition. They have the stalk, they have a formation that is quite scattered, so not an easy target for the artillery. That's why I really believe that, if you like, of course, to create this kind of strategies, so where you have to, take advantage of their stalk, otherwise you're just, wasting money, because the archers can do a better job. But yeah, if you know how to use them, they are definitely in the Legolas category. Then at the end we have the Sisters of Avalon. Now this unit is a DLC unit that you can get with the DLC, the Queen and the Crown. That they are probably the only reason to get this DLC, in my opinion. And they are great. They have a good range with these magical arrows that are first very good looking to see, because you can see this rain of celestial bullets that is going down on the enemy. That I love it. And at the same time, they are not that bad in melee. So if they get engaged by a mid-tier unit, they can definitely stand the fight. But of course, it's the range attack, their best strength. That's why I will put them into the Legolas category. Believe me, you can doom stack them, and it's very satisfying. Now let's continue with the cavalry, and the first unit that we're gonna address are the Illyrian Reavers, that are the lowest tier cavalry that you can recruit. Quite easy to get, because you need just a second tier building in your basic military section. But in my opinion, once you're ready to replace them with silver helms that are just one tier of building up, they're just useless. They are not that strong, and the difference of price is not that huge to justify the recruitment of this unit. That's why I will put them into the C category. And then we have the Illyrian Reavers with the bows. Now, the situation for them is a little different because they are unique in this roster, but at the same time they are, it's hard to get any value from them. If you like those kind of skirmish strategies, you can use them to distract the enemy, to bring a part of the enemy army in one location. But I think that the skirmish mode for now, that is the one that allows you to fire while keeping a distance between this unit and the enemy automatically, is not working correctly. So if you consider all the package, probably they are not a worth to recruit option. That's why I will put them into the C category. And then we have the silver helms, even here with the shields and without the shields. The version without shield, I will just put it into the Orwen category, because they are recruitable with the same building. So should you not get the version with the shield that is just very, very little more expensive? And yes, in any case, they are not a bad unit. They are great at what they do, and in my opinion, they are the ultimate cavalry for this game, even in the late campaign, because there is another unit. But if you boost them enough, they do what they have to do. In any case, with the cavalry, you will focus mostly on the artillery units, on the missile infantry units. So yeah, at doing that, they are quite good. And compared to the other cavalry in the games, the mid-tier cavalries in the game, they are quite armored with the shield, quite fast. So yeah, they deserve to be here. And at the end, we have finally the most elite shock cavalry, probably in the entire game, at least if you consider only the horses and not the monstrous cavalry, in general. Now, I have some problems with this unit, because first, you need an advanced military building of the 5th tier to recruit them, so you will be able to get them very far and later in your campaign, and this is a weakness for me. And then they are not that special in my opinion. They don't sacrifice any speed, this is true, and they are very armored. They are shielded with some fire resistance, maybe even a physical resistance. But yes, they are very expensive, and I know that I'm repeating you this every time, but the price is an important factor in this game. Okay, if you're playing with high difficulty or more, you have to consider if it's worthy to replace one unit that is already doing his job great with the most elite cavalry that at the end you will use it in the same way, and the enemy will even prioritize this unit to take it down, so you will see all the fire on you. That's why for me I will put them into the mid tier, just to not make anyone angry. Now we can talk about the chariots in this roster, and the first one is the Ilthimar chariot. That is only melee unit that is recruitable with a 2nd tier advanced military building in this faction. That is the same of the Eagle Claw bolt thrower, so it's a building that I suggest you to build. And yes, it's great if you compare it to other chariots in the game, even at the same tier. That's why I think that is great. And yes, if you like the category, you will have a lot of fun with them. Then we have the Tyrannok chariot, that is a little more expensive. You sacrifice some melee stats, but you get a range attack, so basically some archers atop. Now, this is not necessarily a strength for me, because you're not gonna use the range attack with the chariots. Okay, the point is that the range attack should be an extra in case you're chasing some cavalry and so on. But otherwise, why should you sacrifice your melee capability if you are a chariot? So you're supposed to psychocharge the enemy. And that's why, since you need a tier more of building, and also they are a little more expensive, I will put them into the C category. Then we have the Lion of, the Lion Chariots of Crace, that are basically the Lion of Crace version of the Chariot, so they have better armor-piercing damage and also some missile protection for the pelt of the Lions, don't ask me. And for me they are the best Chariot, at least grounded Chariot, because they have this, the monstrous strength of the Lion and still the armor-piercing damage of the Lions of Crace. They have a good missile resistance, they are even a little more armored. That's why I think they deserve to be in the A position, even if they need, a tier more of building to be recruited. And we can proceed with the flying chariots in this roster, and they've been both introduced with the DLC Tides of Torment, the last one, so far. And now, they are great units, they are quite good looking, I like the model, and I waited so many years to play with them, but I have to say that at least the generic version with the archers atop is not that good. The archers are better than the generic archers in your roster, but of course they are quite limited, because they are just 4 chariots with probably a couple of archers per chariot, so they are definitely not a missile unit. What you can do with them is more a support, a versatile support, because you can, going around and disrupt some formation, to distract some missile infantry, but yeah, pretty much like that. And if you engage with any melee unit, you will probably lose the fight. To recruit them, you need the same building of the chariots and the artillery, but yes, for me they are in the C tier. And then we have the version with the Eagle Claw bolt throwers atop, and in my opinion this is a better version, because you have an actually useful missile attack, that is your artillery piece attack, so you can use them in the siege battles, or for their increased mobility you can change the strategic position to fire at the enemy from the right angle, and this is perfect. Okay, they are one of the best artillery units in the game for me, even if they are just bolt throwers that they have some problems, we can say. They have 2 mods, one against single entities and one against bunches of infantry, and yes, they are perfect. That's why I will put them into the Legolas category. Now I want to address first the flying monsters in this roster, because they are many, and we can start with Great Eagle. Now, the Great Eagle is the only unit in this category that is recruitable in the, with the basic military building, so it's easier to get, but in my opinion not that useful. You are quite strong against spellcasters, and that's it. If you engage in combat with a melee specialist, especially if mounted, you will probably lose the fight. Then you can try to, distract some artillery pieces, some missile infantry, but you are a little large entity, so you will not cause, plenty of destruction, and you will need a lot of time to destroy an entire unit of archers and so on. That's why I don't feel to put it in a high position. It's quite niche, and for the same role you can just use a mounted flying character. So for me, into the C tier. Now let's talk about the phoenixes. That are 3, and 2 of them are with the base game, and the third is with the Warden and the Punch DLC, the Arcane Phoenix. Now they're quite a little different from each other, definitely more than the dragons, so I will try to explain you each of them quite briefly. The Fire Phoenix, that it's the Flame Phoenix, something like that, Flame Spire Phoenix, I guess. They are recruitable with with an advanced military building that is the same of the Phoenix Guard, and the Flame one is available with the 3rd tier building, so with the lowest one, and it's the more aggressive. Okay, the most aggressive, with the better speed, the better charge, the better, at least compared to the the Frost Phoenix with the best charge, the best weapon strength. So in case you need to chase down a character or a monster, a flying cavalry, something like that, they are perfect. They have the rebirth, so if they die, there is a chance that they can be, you know, reborn. They can be born again, and then they have this bombardment ability that they can, I mean, fire the enemy. That is like, you know, the bombs of the helicopters of the dwarves, for example. That's why, I mean, it's great. It's great if you want to use them for this. It's definitely great, but in my opinion, I don't know, they're still a little weak if they get engaged with the wrong foe. That's why I will keep them into the Elrond category. Then we have the Frostheart Phoenix that you need, a tier up building to get them, but in my opinion they are the best because they sacrifice a little of charge speed, and that is, I mean, it's still a lot of speed, it's still more than 100, and if you boost them even more, but they get more armor, more melee defense, so you can use it to absorb damage from the enemy. They get the frostbite ability that will reduce the speed of the enemies and many stuff like that. That's why for me, I mean, it's just perfect to use it as a bait if you want to, you know, bombard with a spell the area, and then it's more resilient. Okay, the Flame Spire Phoenix, believe me, he will get down very easily, but the Frostheart definitely no. And then we have the Arcane Phoenix. Now, the Arcane Phoenix is available with the top tier building, that is the 5th, so you will be able to recruit this unit very late in the game. And now, what's the difference? For me, it's something between, because he got some, I mean, it's better than both of these Phoenixes, but of course at a higher price. And at the same time, he will get the rebirth ability from the Flame Phoenix, and also a kinda of tornado vortex ability. That is great, I have to admit it. Now, it's still my problem with the use and the price, of course, of this unit, because of course it can bring destruction to the battlefield, but it requires plenty of management because there are the special abilities, and it's not that tough in melee. It will be prioritized by the enemy, and it's quite vulnerable to the range attacks, for example. That's why I think I will keep it into the A category. Now let's talk about the dragons, and the 3 of them are recruitable with the same advanced military building, and the Moon Dragon and the Fire Dragon, these 2 will be available with the same 4-tier building, while the Moon Dragon, that is the most expensive here, will be recruitable with the 5th-tier building. Now, let's say that I'm quite sorry that they didn't create some huge differences between these units, like for the Phoenixes, that actually, you know, they work in a different way. For the Dragons, no. I mean, you can use them in the same way and, you know, get the same result. We have just the Fire Dragon that is more offensive, we can say, but is also the cheapest, and yeah, there is not a big difference between him and the Moon Dragon. Just the breath, probably. The breath is more powerful against infantry, while the one of the Moon Dragon is better against large entities, at least in theory. And yes, the Moon Dragon is more expensive but gets a little more of armor, but I mean quite very little. That's why I will put them, the Moon Dragon, into the C category, and the Fire Dragon in the probably in the Elrond category. Then we have the Star Dragon. Now, this is of course, I mean, here I want to talk about all the weaknesses of the dragons. The fact that the enemy will prioritize them, so expect to suffer some crossfire from all the range units of your enemy. And of course, you are big easy target, so you're quite hard to miss, and at the same time, you know, you're very expensive. I will not stop to saying that. Of course, if a unit is you know, is expensive, is also the most elite, the best, but yeah, you have to keep in mind this factor when you decide to recruit one unit instead of the other. But at the same time, I have to admit that in the late campaign you really need this giant dragon that I mean, he can, if well used and if you protect it, if you manage him correctly, you can have great satisfaction, and he's definitely a good option in this roster. That's why I will put them into the A category. Now let's talk about the only artillery piece that I just forgot, honestly. That is the Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower. That is recruitable with the advanced military building of the Chariot, but only the second tier building, so quite easy to get, and in my opinion quite necessary, because you always need you know, this kind of artillery piece to get the range superiority. Of course, not with all the factions like the Empire of the Dwarfs, but against most of the chaos related factions you can get this advantage, and then they are not that bad. I mean, if you use the ability, the fire mod against the bunches of infantry, believe me, it's a great range attack. And even if they have many weaknesses, like the fact that they are not very mobile, and you know, there are some problems with that, they are quite they don't deal plenty of damage, I have to say that at least they deserves to be into the A position. Now let's talk about the grounded monsters and beasts in this roster that through the DLCs now they get their own category. Let's start with the Lions of Crache, the White Lions of Crache, sorry, that they are recruitable with the basic military building, the same of the Lions of Crache and the Great Eagle. So it's a building that can help you with many roles for your army, and they are quite good. They are fast, they have the armor piercing damage, the missile resistance, because as I told you, the lion pelt for some arcane reason is repellent to arrows, and yes, you can use them to, you know, circle around the enemy army and attack the most vulnerable units, from missile infantry to light cavalry. Try to not stand a fight against you know, a same tier melee unit, because they will probably not win. This is just my opinion, but yes, they definitely deserve to be into the A tier. Then we have the Oceanids that they arrive, the White Lions of Crache are recruitable with the DLC, the Warden and the Paunch, while the Oceanids and all the other grounded monsters are recruitable with, I mean, you can get them with the DLC Tides of Torment. Now, I have a problem with the Oceanids because they're great, I mean, I like the aesthetics, but I don't understand their role. They are supposed to be a anti-infantry support, but more a tank than a damage dealer, because they don't deal plenty of damage, but they don't even absorb that much damage. They have many physical resistance, fire resistance, probably even the spell resistance, the immunity to contact effect, the physical resistance, yeah, I mean, probably already said that. But yes, they don't deal that much damage, and if you go against a unit with magical attacks, I mean, you're just done. And still, I don't get if I have to use them to, you know, as a mid shield to absorb damage, or as a support to my front line. It's quite weird, and I mean, I played many campaigns with the High Elves, but I still don't find the best way to use them. That's why I will put them into the C category. And then they are not that easy to recruit, since they need a specific building. Then we have the Sea Elemental, that is the big cousin of the Oceanids. In this case, you need, I mean, a fourth tier, yeah, probably not, not the fifth, but the fourth tier building of the same chain. So even them a little harder to recruit, but probably I like this unit too much. That's why I cannot give you a neutral perspective, but I really think that they are great, because compared to the Oceanids, they have, they have all these resistances and so on, but they deal damage, okay? They absorb and they deal damage. They are quite tall, so an easy target, but they are very mobile. You can just, send them into the ground with their animations and they will escape any kind of situation. And yeah, they are great. I love the animations. I love the sound design that they make. They made for them, and I think that it's great at their role. That's why I will put it into the Elrond category. I mean, still not that necessary, we can say. And then we have finally the Mervyn. Now, this is a unit that I didn't expect to see in the game when they announced the Sea Elemental. He was too beautiful to be real, but yes, it happened and we got it, and he's one of the most expensive units in the entire game, and probably one of the largest together with the Dread Saurian. And he got the regeneration, one of the highest weapon strength in the entire game by default. But I have to say that it's not my favorite unit. I feel that when I play with it, again, you are paying, the same price of probably, 6 or 7 spearmen, probably even more. So it's, of course, it's a great unit, but for that price, I think that is not enough. Okay, the regeneration is great, but as I said, it's a very large target, not that fast, and if he suffered, the crossfire of the range enemies, and that is at the same time it's surrounded by anti-large units, infantry. Believe me, it's a big problem, even with its elusive animation. So yeah, I cannot put it more than the Elrond category. So for me, this tier list is perfect. Tell me if you disagree with some choices, and of course be argumentative in the comments. Just don't just say no, you're bad, I don't like, no, this is bad. No, tell me, okay, I disagree with the Flame Phoenix. For me is a Legolas unit for this reason. But yes, for me, my idea, it's pretty much like that. And now we can proceed with the army compositions. Now we can finally have a look together at some examples of army compositions for the different stages of the campaign. Here we are with the one of the early game, and of course we are not taking into consideration the specific categories of units that will be boosted by the single legendary lords, because for example Sea Lord Aisling will boost the ship's company, so you can use these melee infantry instead of the spearmen. But all these units are great for any campaign with the High Elves, and we are using only basic military buildings at most of the second tier. So we get the spearmen that you can get actually with the settlement building, the archers that you need, the barracks building, and in this case we're taking the armored version, so we will have some extra protection in case of a missile attack. Then some rangers to have some infantry that can attack the flanks of the enemy, or for some anti-infantry support to our front line, because of course the spearmen are basically anti-large, and this is an important thing. Okay, with this kind of early game army you have a full protection against any kind of cavalry or little monsters that you can bump into in an early game scenario, and this is great. And of course we took some other monsters, some lions that you needed the DLC if you want to play with them, that in my opinion they are better than the cavalry, because first they are very fast and they can win a fight against a light cavalry, so they are a better choice in my opinion, and we can use them both to protect our flanks or to attack the flanks of the enemy, like in this case that we are debilitating the artillery, that as you know in some faction, and especially in the early game, the artillery and the missile infantry can be the damage dealers of their army. And then we have an eagle that can be useful, even if I said in the tier list that the eagle is not a great unit for me in the very early stages of the of your campaign when you don't have any flying mount for your lord, they can be great because you have some flying capabilities that to ignore and bypass some obstacles and to reach areas that otherwise it would be difficult to reach. We managed to disrupt the enemy formation. That's why, it's a little scattered with the missile infantry, the cavalry at, in a completely different space than the main army. So we can focus all our missile power of our archers on the trolls in this case, because it's the only unit of monstrous infantry that can be quite powerful against our spearmen. Even if we have a lot of anti-large bonuses, we are preparing our rangers at the flanks of the enemy army, so we can use a pincer strategy to block them, like in this case of the cavalry of the orcs, that it can be quite annoying if they manage to to circle us around and attack the back of our archers. And yes, once we took down the trolls, we can just continue the fight, but even if the balance of the battle is still in the middle, we definitely have all the elements to win this fight. Our front line is managing to resist, to absorb all the damage, and our missile infantry is doing the job. And now we can have a look together at one example of a mid-game army composition, where we will use not only the basic military buildings but also the advanced military buildings, but we will use to recruit our units only at most third tier buildings. So we can start to replace some spearmen with the Silvering Guard, that is a unit of 1 DLC, but you can definitely do without them. Then we used a couple of Sea Lordern Guard, Lordern Sea Guard that has not only the range attack but also this spear and shield, so they are perfect for our flanks, because they can both use their bows. But if there is a unit, a cavalry of the enemy that is charging you, you can definitely stand the fight, stand the charge. Then we got a couple of artilleries that, as I told you, they are essential to me, because you need the range superiority in your fight, and in this case you can force the enemy to attack you. Of course, this only if the enemy doesn't have better artillery than you. And then a couple of chariots. In this case we used the Tyrannok ones, because they are, a tier less of the buildings, and they have better melee capabilities. And a unit of Phoenix that, even if I told you in the tier list that, it's not my favorite, as I said, in this scenario, it's the best option, because the Frostheart Phoenix is a fourth tier building unit. And then a couple of Lions of Crush, that we need them both as a support for our front line, and also because we can need some armor piercing damage in case we have some heavy infantry that are attacking us, for example. And they are great in this case just at the back of our archers, so they can even defend the artillery, the missile infantry, and so on. And we will not use them in the pre-battle, but even when the front line will be engaged with the enemy front line. Okay, we can wait a little just to understand where is the best place to put them, like in this case where there are some enemies that are trying to flank us, so we still don't know if their role can be better fulfilled in the front line or in the flank. And now we can have some fun with a late game army composition for our campaign. In this case we will use again both basic and advanced military buildings, and we can recruit units till the 5th tier of buildings. So we completely replaced our spearmen with the silvering guard, but as I told you, if you boost the spearmen with the technology and with the red skill line of your lord, you don't actually strictly need to replace them with the upgraded version. Then we kept the Northern Sea Guard because we need them to protect our flanks with their spears, and they have also the shield to increase their defense, but we replaced our archers with the Sisters of Avalon, that are another DLC units, but they are truly effective. They are decent in melee, so in case the enemy managed to penetrate your formation, they are not weak, okay, they can stand the fight. We replaced also our artillery pieces with the Lodern Skycutters, with the Eagle Claw bolt throwers, that they are better for me because they do the same, they have almost the same missile strength, but they are more mobile, and they are not, in case the enemy doesn't have any flying unit, like in this case, I think, they will have no weaknesses. They are very hard to take down. There are only the missile infantry of the enemy or some artillery that are dangerous to them, but they are quite safe. Then we replaced our Ilthimar chariots with I did a mistake before, sorry, with our lions of the lion chariots of Krache, that are just the better version. And we took a sea elemental because I wanted to add a little of big monsters to that, and it's in a key position because from the center he can attack literally everywhere. Okay, so if you have problem with the front line, you can just send it forward, or if they are attacking on the flanks, you can send to them. And yes, I think this is a great army composition that you can use in your campaign, in the late game of your campaign, of course. Of course, our front line of High Elves could not stand, the charge of the Greenskin late game army. But as I told you, the Sisters of Avalon, they are better in melee than the generic archers, so they can definitely absorb some of the damage, while the other units just set free, and we can use them to focus all of them on our front line. That is the only one that is giving up. The flanks are going good because the combination of the Lodern Sea Guard together with the Chariots could withstand the fight pretty well. And yes, we have to use quite wisely the missile attack of our Sisters of Avalon on the key unit that are more risky, that are threatening our front line the most. And yes, I think that everything is going well. Of course, when you move forward in the campaign, the fights will be harder, and you cannot rely anymore on your starting formation. You have to move your units around to address all the different situations. Thank you for following me. I hope you had fun with my video, and let's see very soon.